Hey there guys, so welcome to week 2 of Behind the Back Moves with Poi. In week 1 we talked about some very basic exercises that you can work on to begin getting your body acclimated to behind the back moves. And this week we'll talk about how we can translate some of those exercises into a behind the back weave. Now to start off with, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about how weaves in front of our bodies work. You'll note whenever you're performing a weave, there's always a point at which each hand has a turn being on top, or you could even think of it as being further away from the body if you're going to hold your hands really close to your body like this, yeah? There's kind of a little cavity that your arms create directly in front of your body, and each hand is going to get a turn being in that cavity and having the other hand further away from your body than that one is, right? So for instance, when I'm reaching my left hand over right here, it becomes the hand that's furthest away from my body. Or when I move my right hand over, it becomes the hand that's furthest away from my body, yeah? Behind the back weave is no different, but we kind of have to think of it backwards. Let's build it up piece by piece. So you're going to want to start in a place where it feels as though the poi is going backwards in wheel plane. The reason for this being that once it goes behind your back, it will essentially be forwards, but behind you. And I know that's kind of a weird way to break it down, but you take the exercise we did last week, and if you rotate around a couple times, you'll realize that when your arms crossed over, it feels like the poi is going forward. Therefore, when it crosses behind your back, it's closer to being that forwards variation. And just like when we're learning the weave in front of ourselves, it's easier to start forwards than it is backwards. You'll want to learn both, but start at least with the quote-unquote forwards version of the backwards weave. Confused yet? Excellent. So to start with, we're just going to go back to the tic-tacs from last week, switching back and forth. And as we're doing this, we're going to add the other hand into the equation. And specifically, we're going to keep that hand in the small of our back. As we go back and forth, you'll note that that hand is always the one that is closer to our body than the one with the poi in it, right? Cool, let's make life a little bit more complicated for ourselves. What if instead we allowed the poi to rotate twice as it's crossed behind our back, like such? In that particular case, we can use that second rotation as a place where that other hand can get out from between the body and the hand with the poi in it and become the hand that's furthest away from the body, like such. And you'll note we now have that nice 3-beat rhythm that we know from the forwards 3-beat weave down, wherein we get beat, beat, cross back. Or if you want to think of it this way, over, under, back, over, under, back. And I'm referring, of course, to the hand that the poi is in, yes? It's over the other hand, under the other hand, and back. Over, under, back. Over, under, back. Over, under, back. Excellent. Now you're going to want to get that down with the other hand, because of course you've been practicing since last week with both hands, right? Excellent. Once again, it's the same story. You're going to start off just doing a tic-tac behind your back with your right hand closer to your body than the hand with the poi in it. And then you're going to get to the point where you can do 2 rotations with your left hand when it's crossed over behind your back. And you're going to use that second rotation as a point at which the right hand can get out and around it, such that we can think of it once again as over, under, back, over, under, back, over, under, back, over, under, back. Yeah? You're going to want to practice these until you can get it clean on both sides, at least 10 reps in a row. When you've gotten that far, it's time to add the next step onto it, which is to try and learn the 2-beat weave on both sides behind your back. This is going to be a lot more complicated because both of the poi are going to be involved. 2 things that are going to help: really, really, really keep your split time, same direction timing going throughout it. The more likely you are to fall out of this, the more likely you are to tangle your poi as they're going behind your back. What we're going to seek to do is this little movement right here. And this is going to be kind of brain melting for the same reason that when we initiate a 3-beat weave in front of us, or a 2-beat weave in front of us, excuse me, it gets to be a little brain melting too, which is that the hand that you start with is not actually the hand that goes over first, it's the hand that goes under first. It's reaching across, and the other hand is kind of folding over it. You could almost imagine it as being slightly origami, that you're actually creating the fold before the top of the piece of paper goes over it, yes? So then left hand folds, right hand folds over on top of it. Yes? It's going to work the same way behind your back. Once again, you're going to get in a position where it feels like you're rotating in reverse, even though behind your back it's really forwards. And your left hand poi, this one right here, is going to reach for your right hip. As that happens, the right hand poi is going to try and reach over and around it, as such. This is going to feel a little bit different from the exercise that we just did, but bear with me because the two of them do dovetail. From behind, it's going to look like this. You may find as you're doing this that the poi are going to hit the back sides of your legs. That's totally fine. One of the things that you can do to fix that is you can try and engage the core of your body more. If you're not turning your body as you're doing this, your arms have to work more, and that's actually really bad for them, because to have your shoulders going straight behind you in that fashion, it moves them in a way that the human body, in most cases, is not particularly simpatico with. So try and believe that as you're doing it, you're shifting the entire focus of your body back and forth, and that should help you avoid some of those unpleasant moments where they hit the backs of your legs. You're going to hit the backs of your legs anyway, but this will be the way that you can try and work around it, yes? Okay, so once you've got that with the left side initiating, you're then going to get it down with the right side initiating, which of course is going to look like this. My right hand reaches for my left hip, my left hand then goes and folds over it, as such. As you can tell, that is the side that I'm a lot less comfortable with. But once you've got it down on both sides, and of course when I say got it down, I mean you can do it 10 times in a row, not hit the back of your legs and keep it relatively stable, it's time to start combining them together. How that works is, when, let's say we initiate a 2-beat with our left hand being the one that goes under. Now clearly the left hand is kind of racing back outward in order to undo this. But what happens if instead we give it the opportunity to jump around and be the hand in front? This is the hand motion that we practice first. So as we're going from our 2-beat with the left behind our back, you'll note we have that moment where the right hand is crossed over as well. If we let the right hand hang out there for an additional beat, the left hand can reach around it and become the hand in front. Really, really concentrate on saying, okay, I'm going to reach, right hand over, left hand over, right hand over, left hand over, right hand over, left hand over. The hardest part of this, of course, is to get 2 rotations with an arm crossed over behind your back. It's going to take a little bit of practice, I'm not going to lie, because it's a very uncomfortable place for your poi and body to be, but it can be done. It can be done. And of course the result winds up looking pretty lovely. Or as seen from behind. Cool. So next week we will talk about meltdowns, which are a lovely behind the back move that happens in a wall playing kind of place, and we'll turn you guys loose from there. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back with a tutorial next Friday. Peace.